supreme evening, wherever you are in the world right now. I ain't come on to do a live in a minute, so I figured I'd come on and do a live. Oh, okay. Thought I can put the whatchamacallit on. So look, I've been focusing on a lot of other things that I had to get taken care of, and putting the energy in different places to pull certain manifestations towards me, and I've been actually enjoying the reaps of those as particular values. Type of message I want to share tonight, though, it's not unfamiliar to people. I just don't think the repetition or the discipline is available. And you know how you know? Because you hear a lot of people talking all the time. When there's more conversation than there is action, that states a value. Especially when people like to try to prove points by what they know or what their experience in some aspect. You know that they haven't grown completely. Because you'll see people saying, I've done this or I've done that. Or you'll see people bringing the level of information towards you to serve a purpose when, in fact, the main purpose that should be served in every aspect is self first. And then you have to master that 360.5 degrees around your whole existence, because therefore you'll start emitting that knowledge. It will emit off you. You're not going to have to say anything. You know what I mean? Like, that's the deep part about it. But most people, that's how they come with their understanding. They want it short and microwavable. You know, wham bam, thank you ma'am type energy. And then they want to, if it's feminine, roll their neck and snap their fingers. If it's a man, he wants to be strong when he say it and drop that jewel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all ego. It's all ego. And I find it interesting to be able to shift in between standpoints of energy to serve its dynamic purpose of what it's trying to get across, right? In service. And then also the minds that are willing to entertain certain values because it sounds good. They're particular or apartheid to the circumstances of how the one individual is displaying the knowledge. So you're only attracted to it because the outcome of it is going to be the same for you. That's how dynamic these energies are. That's how they exist on different levels and shit. Like they only match up with their outcome. So the mediocre energies that people may receive, it's only gonna put a standpoint of non-completion. It's the only reason why non-complete individuals are dealing with certain energies. Somebody will say, what do you mean by how they non-complete? Well, if you listen to me in the beginning, I was telling you most people do things and then or they speak to certain things and you can tell because the way they're speaking or what they're speaking about, they haven't mastered the knowledge that they might be getting. See, the dope thing about it is, yeah, you're going to perceive it in a way that your mind can acclimate it. But you're not going to be able to say when you understand it. You're not going to say, well, I finally got it. That'll never be it, because what'll happen is divine will hit you with that same information in a physical way. You'll experience it in a physical way. And because you heard the words, you never seen it move. So you're not going to be able to be like, oh, that's what that is. It's going to take a minute. And these are senses that are acclimating to the character of what's being downloaded. So that means you have to have it absorbed in your existence before you even act on some of these things. Man. Anyway, that be the point. That definitely be the point. And then not for nothing, like even a lower level to that is propaganda in the world and watching people respond to that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so easy to get you involved in worldly energy. And if somebody's talking to you in a way of the most simplest understanding, it's not it's not grotesque enough to have you believe it as a value of information. It has to come at you like propaganda. So that speaks to the things that are working with inside of you and why they working the way they are. Like you like that. You always put that on your food. That'll go over somebody's head. What does he mean by that? Well, you're so used to doing these things, you can't respond to nothing else unless it's like that. I've spoken to a lot of people, and sometimes you literally got to like gauge how you're going to say something because the normal words they use is nowhere near the mental level that you're on. So then you got to actually pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? And that right there takes allowing this knowledge that you're getting to fill the full circumference of your being. So therefore, when it's time to use it, recognize it, use it for yourself or use it for someone else. You're on all levels already. And that makes a real teacher because you're not going to be so rushed to speak about it. You're not. You're not going to you're not going to be rushed to tell because what is it to tell? If you know they're not on your level, the purpose of you saying what means what? Like this shit start getting deep, so if somebody's given levels of knowledge, especially the particular type of knowledge that certain individuals are given, it has to be seen in that right retrospect. Not because they have it to tell. See, you're only going to get that real fulfillment when somebody has mastered that as an understanding, right? Besides, how can someone tell you anything and they haven't experienced it? So that means some knowledge comes with the negative aspect too. So that means you're getting that knowledge because you're going to go through some shit. So therefore, you can feel stronger about what you know and deliver it with a passion that nobody else can according to your existence at this current time. Like that particular charismatic energy may have to come up to explain certain pieces of knowledge. And unless you really feel it, you're not going to be able to do that. So you might be getting something like a foresight. And that knowledge might be privy to what's going to happen to you, whether good or bad or indifferent. And you get a chance to see these things, right? And meld with them and even acts when they're happening and you're just shocked in your most sincerest moment to be guided through that level of sincerity so you can have it as a full understanding. That's where the true acclamation of knowledge comes from. But then, it's even deeper than that because I remember when I started understanding the levels of fear. And when I'm having a deeper conversation with someone, I'm like, you know what? Nobody's ever going to see that as fear. And he was like, yo, that's the actual key. They're not going to know that they're afraid. They're just going to call it something else, which is going to slow down the process of learning. So it's like, damn, they even divide you from the processes of learning without you even knowing. Like that shit is ill, you know what I'm saying? And then people really think they think like that. People really think like, yo, this is just how I think. No. These are all processes that are downloaded into the mentality via different aspects. So when somebody's speaking to you about something simple as being able to be conducive within society, it's the hardest thing to retrospect. The hardest thing. People are like just bewildered. Like, I can't because whatever reason. When you're checking out how the value of how people are having self-preservation and what that really means. all of the values have equated to some form of materialistic surface understanding, to where you're like, you acting like you can't hear what I'm saying. And it might be the cancer trait, but in the same breath, I'm not going to tell you something that's not right. And if it takes a level of discipline, if you need it concentrated, you might as well just do it. Rip the band-aid off. Learn however you have to learn, like get to that point so you can get past that, right? Like that's how I look at shit. Like I liken things to video games, because when you're in a video game and you're on that part of the board where it gets harder, or you're fighting people and it's hard, you have to get past that part to get to the next part. I'm not looking at that like it's the most terrible thing in the world. I'm looking at it like as soon as I get past it, I can get to that. So then the whole aspect of that, what I have to get past, becomes something that's already mentally past. I'm just going through the stages of it. So this is how you be a part of certain things without being there yet. You know you want to get there. So because you want to be there, automatically that energy transcends the physical space. It's the same thing with any other connection. Once you know you want to do better in a circumstance, you project that as a light out. And then you just start getting all the steps it takes to fulfill those things. But this shit is crazy, because for the most part, nobody's sitting around like, I want to do it right. People are sitting around like, I want to find out if I can just destroy some shit. That's how people are looking at the world. I want to know if I can keep messing something up. I want to know if I can get attention by doing this via whatever. For me, mentally, it doesn't disturb me. It doesn't even slow anything. See, the act of disturbance would have to be something particular to how I'm saying things, or the physicality of me being able to speak. See, that's not gonna happen. I can speak. Divine made that something that was gonna be relevant, right? So me speaking is not gonna stop. The seed is already out. The frequency is coming out as soon as my lips move, and it's vibrating across existence. So anything else can be stopped. I wouldn't care less about any of that shit, because my vibration travels like a stone dropping in water, rippling across everything. It doesn't stop it, it keeps going. That'd be the real shit. But then you have the euphoria of people's minds, right? The false reality. They believe that what they do has value. They believe that the negative aspect stops the intention of the individual. No, you're just the visual negative aspect of what that is. That's all you sum up to be, the visual stoppage of a circumstance. Like there's always sticks in the water. Trees growing, mangroves grow in the water, and they still get hit with, rings of things that fall in the water. It doesn't stop the rings though. It's just there, and the water goes around it. And it keeps rippling until it can't go anymore. But the knowledge transcends the space, is what I'm saying. It travels through, wrapping around everything that's in the way of its motion. That means it's learning fully its directional path within motion. Through motion, emotions I was feeling. It's feeling as it's moving. You know what I'm saying? Like it's feeling as it's moving. And the more that it feels as it's moving, it understands. This is the wonderfulness about water. I think about all these things a lot, and sometimes I just hold the thoughts back because I'm literally studying the thoughts. And then once you take this knowledge that you get in some direction serious, like you can't take it, I got to download. Like it can't be so carelessly absorbed. You got to really sit down and know that and it's a respect to it. Like, damn, I was chosen to hear that just now. Like, it has to be respects with that value. So then you strengthen that connection to it. So then the knowledge is so meaningful because the way you digested it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all respects to the Most High. And most people they don't even like this is so basic. Like what I'm saying right now is so basic. You know what I mean? But it's nobody really gonna take that into consideration. So the ones that do hear this and you decide to take heed to what I'm saying at any point in time, future, past or present, just know this is the fault with everything else. It's always the non-discipline within the basic understanding that will get you so much farther. My grandfather used to be like, your respect take you farther than money. You have that strong respect, it'll take you way farther than money. I've had the privilege to see that. But, you know, with the knowledge, it's the same retrospect, but then you see it as, you know, little clubs that people build in some form of value, and they keep forgetting that it's not about what you can formulate from it. It's about how far you can run with it. How far are you willing to go with the ultimate truth? It's not about attachment, everyone. Something to think about. And for the most part, people use different knowledges to sit in a room to make it seem like they have their own Montel Williams show. Us, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it's dope because I get entertained by some of the things, but then automatically I have to stay on task, right? As much as that's cool, being on task is more important. You know what I'm saying? And if the knowledge is based off a foundation that's just supposed to be delivered, has nothing to do with personal retrospects of how you're able to deliver it with aesthetics and all of that, then what would be the point of anything else? So it's like you actually deceive yourself. You deceive yourself away from the download. You get this whole epiphany, a great download, and you want to do a show, and you want to talk about it, but yet you still haven't acclimated it to your whole existence, right? So then you get out there, you do the show, and then you get mixed up in the value of how it looks, the way you deliver it. You've literally walked away from the reason you got the message in the first place. Within that motion, it's all vain. It's almost like sending you the knowledge was in vain. Have you ever seen a person get so much money and then they just mess it all up? Some people go through that. You know why? Because they're supposed to fail, so then they can have a better understanding. And the next time might be that much harder, depending on how well you learned it. If you learned your lesson, it ain't gonna come easy like that again, because you learned your lesson. You have to get another lesson. That's according to your timeline. Shit gets crazy to me, yo. Like, it gets so crazy. You be like, yo, it really work like that too. And sometimes you pray for things or you meditate on things and you get more of the same thing. And it's to try to get you to make the decision based off the right value. And once you decide to start doing that and you stand on it, you've created a whole nother character inside of yourself that didn't exist prior. Disciplines really answer other things that you have inside of you that you just didn't use when you needed them the most, men and women. That's what these disciplines do. When you practice abstinence and you was abstaining from doing certain things and you became celibate because your abstaining went longer, then that's just not you knowing, oh, I can go a long time without having sexual activities. That's you saying, you know what, if I'm in the situation and I have to, I can be loyal. Because just by circumstance, you was loyal to yourself. How easy is that for you to master that over a long period of time? You couldn't do that for someone you care for? Yes, you could. And you're not even understanding and that comes with that discipline. But see, when you take time for knowledge, you get that later. You get the understanding of these certain things later. You be like, yo, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, that's what came with it. That's like a package deal. You know, you got some exercise that work combinations of muscles. So after doing that one exercise for a period of time, you've worked out a combinations of muscles that you can actually see. There's characteristic traits in divine understanding and self-awareness that do the same thing based off discipline. It does the same thing. You get more out of it. Most people are just not aware because they're so eager to rush and say, this is what I did. Sometimes just be quiet and keep going. Not for everybody else, though. For you. Because keep in mind, you heard the knowledge. You got the knowledge. Nobody else got what you're understanding. And if they were supposed to get it, I don't think divine needs no help. You know what I'm saying? Divine really don't need no help opposed to the people who just can't hear him at all. Sometimes we have to spark a fire in people. That's because their light is out. So everybody don't really need the work. Divine don't need our help. But the ones that need that fire sparked, sometimes we got to light their fire just so they can actually receive some oxygen. You know, fire can't burn without the air. As soon as you spark it and it lights, then now they can start receiving downloads. You know, teach them how to fish type shit. It's just that serious. It's all good though. I just wanted to drop a jewel real quick. You know, still tune in. If you run across this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do the underground music block. Still do advertising and promotion, graphic designs and all that if needed. Contact me via email, masksquadgreen@gmail.com. Masksquadgreen@gmail.com. If you want to have your music placed on the underground music block, go check them out. I have different types of music all over. All the titles say underground music block. Go check them out. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And that's about it. It's cold out here. But I'm outside chilling right now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold you, just trying to show you something. It's always love. Naga the Wise.